Good. So let us carry on in that case. So we're going to do one more sutta about the importance of spiritual friendship. This is another sutta which I often teach on these retreats, and it is very apt right now for what we're doing now. And this sutta is called ignorance, avijja. Maybe should be called delusion instead. Avijja is more like delusion than ignorance, but the difference between illusion and ignorance is that ignorance usually means a lack of knowledge, whereas delusion means a lack of wisdom. And of course, a lack of wisdom is the real problem. So the question is, how do we overcome the delusion? How do we become wise? How do we give rise to insight and freedom? How does that happen? And this sutta shows us how freedom and insight is based ultimately on our association with the noble ones. This is the foundation for all insight and understanding. And again, it shows us what it means that 100% of the spiritual life is association with wise people. Why that is so important. So let's have a look at this. This is just an extract of a longer sutta, but it gives the main line of understanding that is important for this. So I've numbered it so you can see the 10 steps that makes up this particular teaching. So number 1, in this way, in other words, the sutta has already been giving a lot of information already, but this kind of summarize everything. In this way, when the factor of associating with true persons is fulfilled, it fulfills the factor of listening to the true teaching. So now we're going to look step by step how, starting with associating with true people, how stage by stage it leads all the way to awakening. This is what you're going to see now. The first step is associating with true persons lead to hearing the true teaching. That kind of makes sense. If you associate with people who have understood the Dhamma through their own personal experience, what they say is going to be in accordance with the true teaching. That's what you can expect. So that kind of is easy to understand. But you will notice here that it's not just, the idea is not just to associate with them, but you want that factor to be fulfilled. That is kind of more profound. So fulfilling means that you do it again and again and again until you reach that awakening. That's kind of the point here. So it's not just the fact that you kind of go to the Buddha once, or you read the suttas once, and then that's it, you have fulfilled that factor. You haven't really fulfilled it until you see these things for yourself. So you need to come back and back and back again to understand these teachings. Why should we do this? What is the point of listening to the true teachings? And there's 2 points with listening to the true teachings. One is to understand the Dhamma. That's kind of the easy part. You may think the Dhamma is very profound, very hard to understand, but actually it's not so hard to understand. Be kind. How hard is that? Right? You can understand that in one word. At the end of this retreat, I'm going to summarize everything I've said. I'm going to summarize in one word. I'll tell you now what that word is. Kindness. That's summary of the whole teaching. That's really all you need to know. You can become almost enlightened based on that. Be kind. And if you are truly kind, then this whole thing will kind of arise out of that. So the teaching is actually very simple. But you want to be persuaded that the Buddha really was enlightened. You want to investigate the teaching to see that they make sense. It's good to use a critical mind, because if it doesn't make any sense, well, we should maybe reject it. We shouldn't just be blind. Blind following is not the Buddhist way. Open-eyed following is kind of how the Buddhism works. And so you learn the Dhamma, and you learn a bit about dependent origination, understanding how that works, understanding the 4 Noble Truths in the right way. And as you understand the teaching, you start to get the overall picture of the Dhamma. The overall picture is like the 4 Noble Truths, and all the teachings kind of fit into that overall picture. That's what you want to see. And when you feel that you understand that overall picture, you feel confident about these teachings. You feel the sense of, it all makes really good sense. And then you can start practicing the simple things like kindness much more powerfully, because you feel the sense of faith and confidence in what the Buddha was talking about. If you don't really know what the Buddha was talking about, okay, you may still agree with kindness, but it won't be as strong, it won't be as powerful, it won't be as emotionally powerful to drive you on the path. So keep on coming back to this teaching to understand what the Dhamma is about, number one. Number two, one of the main reasons why you want to hear these teachings is because it gives you the motivation and the energy to practice. It inspires you. It's a very important part of understanding these teachings. It's not just about knowledge, it's about inspiration. The teachings of the Dhamma is supposed to give rise to energy, give rise to actually doing these things. Because you understand, it is an inspirational aspect. And so you come back to the true people. One of the things, if you listen to someone who kind of embodies the Dhamma, is that you feel that this person is kind of expressing the Dhamma by not just what they say, but how they say it. The how you say it is often more important than what you say. Sometimes I go to listen to Ajahn Brahm every Wednesday. We have Dhamma talks every Wednesday at Bodhinyana Monastery. And I've heard his Dhamma talks so many times. I've heard everything he has to say. It's very rare that he says a single word I haven't heard before. I must have heard 1,000 Ajahn Brahm Dhamma talks at least. And yet, the atmosphere is what matters. The feeling of peace, the feeling of power, the feeling of gentleness and kindness that lies behind the words. That is what is the most important thing. And when you are in that setting, when you're part of that, it's like it penetrates you, and you fall into that same slipstream, of this kind of giant truck that kind of goes first, and you kind of get into the slipstream, you get pulled along in the same way, and you also can feel the same qualities growing in you because you are there. That is what inspiration is about, and you become more, you practice more as a consequence. So, factor of associating with true persons, with the Aryas, So hang out with the Aryas. How? Who are these Aryas? Who are these Aryas, right? Well, number one, Arya, the Buddha. So you can always hang out with the Buddha by reading the suttas. Number two, Aryas are those people in the world. You look at them, who are the people you feel inspired by. You look at them over time, you see if they have the right kind of qualities, and gradually you grow your confidence and faith in those people. So you have to decide that for yourself, who you take to be the Aryas. But, there are not many Aryas in the world. They are few and rare and far between. So look carefully, and you will be able to give a rough judgment, who might be and who might not be. It's easy to say who is not than to say who is actually. So that's kind of what you do. And then you listen to those teachings, and gradually you grow. You compare what these people say to the suttas, and if it disagrees with the suttas, good. If it doesn't agree with the suttas, okay, be a little bit circumspect. Okay, factor number one. Then what happens next? Two, when the factor of listening to the true teaching is fulfilled, it fulfills the factor of faith. Or you could say confidence. Faith and confidence go together. Confidence is like the intellectual aspect of it. You agree with the teaching, it makes sense to you. Faith is the emotional aspect, that you kind of feel uplifted by it. You feel a positive feeling because of these teachings. Both of these aspects have to work together. In the Dhamma, the word saddha is both confidence and faith in this particular way. So you listen to the teachings, you get uplifted by them, you understand what the Buddha is talking about. Either you agree or you disagree here. And if you agree, then faith gradually develops. It can take a long time for faith and confidence to develop in these teachings. You listen to the teaching, then you have to reflect on them. Then you have to ask yourself, what does it actually mean? How do I apply this in my own life? And gradually, they kind of they become part of your life, part of your existence. by reflecting, by investigating, by gradually becoming part of your view of existence, your view of reality. Yeah, you come to an acceptance of these teachings, if you like. So this is what faith is about. Now, fulfilling the factor of faith is very profound. Only the stream mentor fulfills it 100%, because fulfillment of faith means absolute faith. It means that all doubts have disappeared, and only the stream mentor has no doubts anymore about the teaching. Why? Because they have seen the teaching through their own insight. Once you have seen it through your own insight, how can you have any doubt? You can't have any doubt anymore. You're absolutely sure of what is going on. Listening to the teaching, allowing that faith to grow stronger and stronger and stronger. Actually now it starts to make sense to me. It makes more and more sense, because the more you reflect on it, the more you understand that there's something very powerful going on here. And then this thing grows. So then what happens? When the factor of faith is fulfilled, it fulfills the factor of wise application of mind. What is this? This is yoniso manasikara, wise attention. One of these really important ideas on the Buddhist path. Wise attention means that whatever you are attending to, you use wisdom in that attention. It means that when you attend wisely to something, good qualities grow, bad qualities decline. That is the definition of yoniso manasikara in the Avijjāsutta, the second sutta of the Majjhima Nikaya. Good qualities are increasing, bad qualities are going down. Wise attention. What does it mean? It means that if you have someone who you find difficult, you can get angry with them, or you can have compassion with them. Wise attention leads you to have compassion to an angry person, and you don't get, or a bad person. Not getting angry means unwise attention. You attend to that person in a wise way. In this situation, where you attend wisely, good qualities grow. When you see all the nice food downstairs, I think, wow, I'm going to have a nice meal now. And then you eat and eat and eat, and you fall asleep in the Dhamma talk afterwards. This is unwise attention to the food. You're not attending wisely to the food. You think, okay, let me be careful. So I'll eat enough to feel nice, just full, just nice, but I will not eat so much that I fall asleep straight away afterwards when I cannot come upstairs. This is wise attention. Knowing the right amount of food to eat. Still, it is easy to fall asleep, I admit. Even if you eat the right amount, still you fall. So if you fall asleep, please fall asleep. It's perfectly okay. We will have compassion for you. It is not a problem. As always, when we kind of have, sometimes when we give Dhamma talks and we do guided meditation, there's always someone falls asleep during the guided meditation. And it's kind of nice, you know that they are relaxing, they're not stressing out, they are enjoying what's going on, at the very least, So that's okay. So please never feel embarrassed if you fall asleep. It is perfectly okay. But wise attention means this. Okay, I eat the right amount, not too much, not too little. When should I speak? When should I listen? All of these things are about right attention, but especially it concerns the defilements of the mind, not giving rise to those and reducing the defilements that you already have. Then you are using wise attention. What is interesting here is called wise attention. And you will have noticed that wise attention or wise application of the mind arises out of faith. Isn't that kind of strange? Wisdom comes from faith. How is that possible? Because usually we tend to kind of think that wisdom and faith are not the same thing. They're kind of different. Faith is just, okay, you follow along like a sheep, and you follow along. That's kind of faith, right? But that's not the wisdom. Wisdom is like, wow, now I understand. It's like insight. So how can faith leads to wisdom in this way? And the answer is that in the Dhamma, faith and wisdom are not that different. First of all, when you have faith, means that you are listening to the Buddha and you are leaning on the Buddha's wisdom. Because you are listening to the Buddha, you apply your mind according to the way the Buddha speaks. You are using the Buddha's wisdom in your own life, and that is why you are having wise application of the mind. You may not even know what wisdom is, but simply because you're following the Buddha, you become wise for that reason. Yeah, because you obviously have faith in the Buddha. Well, that's wisdom already. And so, in the Dhamma, faith and wisdom are not really all that separate. And the deeper that faith goes, we're talking about fulfilling the faith and also fulfilling the factor of wise application of mind. As I mentioned before, the faith is only fulfilled when you become a stream enterer. When you become a stream enterer, you see the Dhamma for yourself. So you have also become wise. You have right view. You are ditthipatto, means you have attained right view. And so when your faith is 100%, your wisdom is also fully established. Faith and wisdom are two sides of the same coin in the Dhamma. They're not separate. Wisdom leads to full faith. Faith leads to wisdom. They go together. And this is one of those very unique things in the Dhamma. The majority of spiritual teachings are all about faith. You just believe. Believe and you'll be right. Really? Okay, maybe not. To me that sounds really dangerous. Just believe? Because some random person tells you there is a God, I'm supposed to believe that? No, thank you very much. I'd rather investigate this on my own. It's too dangerous, isn't it? Seems to me really dangerous. Believe this and you go to heaven afterwards. Okay, well, hope that's true, but what if it isn't true? You just don't know. The Dhamma is very different. Wisdom and faith should go together. That's, to me, the only acceptable way that, spiritual teachings can work or should work. Because otherwise you're walking in the darkness. You're blind. You don't know what's going on. It's too dangerous. So anyway, faith and wisdom in the Dhamma are very closely related to each other. They're two sides of the same coin. And here that wisdom is expressed through the idea of wise attention, the yoniso manasikara. We apply the mind wisely from the very beginning of the path. The moment we hear the Dhamma, we think, wow, this is really good stuff. So you apply your mind to the Dhamma all the way to the very end. When you become an arahant, the last thing you do before you become an arahant is wise application of the mind. You're attending in the right way. That's why you become an arahant. So this is a quality that goes with you all the way along the whole path. So we try to fulfill this, to take it all the way to the end of the path. Then the next stage is when the factor of wise application of the mind is fulfilled, it fulfills the factor of mindfulness and situational awareness. This is Bhante Sujato translation, situational awareness. And it's not a bad translation because this is about sati sampajanya, and sampajanya is really about the right attitude in any particular situation. That's what it really is about. So you are mindful and you understand what it is that you have to do in any particular situation. So what is it that you have to do now? Listen, maybe, sleep, okay, sometimes, But thinking about random stuff, probably not. That's not situational awareness. That's kind of non-situational awareness, or situational non-awareness, or non-situational. I don't know what it is. So asati, asampajanya maybe here. So that wise application of mind tells you what is the right thing to do in any situation. When you go to work, the right thing is to focus on your work, but also to focus on your spiritual qualities. When you remember that your entire life should be about the spiritual practice, even at work, even at home, because everything in life becomes better if you have a spiritual side to it. So at work, you want to be kind, you want to watch your mind, you want to not get angry, all these negative qualities. Everywhere you want to watch that. So sure, you do your work well, but you also remember the spiritual qualities. You remember what is really important in life. That becomes your number one goal in life. This is situational awareness. You know what is the right thing to do at the right time. All right. Then, when the factor of mindfulness and situational awareness is fulfilled, it fulfills the factor of sense restraint. Because when you know what is the right thing to do at any time and place, then you will restrain yourself not to get angry, not to get excessively greedy about things. Okay, please enjoy your lunch. I'm not saying you should not enjoy lunch, but when you enjoy your lunch wisely, it means you also will not eat too much. Because that's the consequences of enjoying your lunch in a wise way. One of the reasons I really liked Ajahn Brahm was because he always said, enjoy your food. I thought, yeah, this is my monastery. Enjoy your food monastery. It's nice when your teacher says that. It's kind of really nice. Other monasteries, they say, yeah, be careful when you eat. Yeah, we're going to take all the food. We're going to put it all in a big bucket, stir it all up, and then you can eat afterwards. Everything is really yucky. Yeah, and no, I don't like that monastery. Let me go to Ajahn Brahm instead. Enjoy your food. Yay, thank you, Ajahn. Okay, now here, I can stay here. So enjoy it. But don't excessively. Don't think about it in the afternoon. Yeah, if you think about food in the afternoon when you're living on 8 precepts, well, then it is a problem. The enjoyment of the food is not the problem. It is the excessive greed and thinking about it. That is the problem. So situational awareness, knowing what is appropriate. Then you have a natural restraint. Don't get angry just because you see bad things. You don't get greedy or excessively greedy because you see desirable things. You don't allow yourself to become deluded or confused or whatever it is, or restless or agitated because you have that restraint on the mind. Yeah. Now it's getting interesting. Now we're getting higher and higher up. If you can have a degree of sense restraint, this is actually really hard for most people to have sense restraint, because in life things happen very quickly. But as you develop your path, you will find that sense restraint starts to improve. Then what happens next? When the factor of sense restraint is fulfilled, it fulfills the factor of the 3 kinds of good conduct. What are the 3 kinds of good conduct? Body, speech, and mind. Yeah? You have already been practicing good conduct by body and speech. And because you are doing sense restraint, you're also practicing good conduct by mind. Because that's what sense restraint is about. Stopping you from getting greedy and averse and angry and these things. This is kind of a big part of the problem. When we talk about the 5 hindrances, remember the 2 first hindrances are the big problem. Kamachanda, Vyapada. Yeah, ill will and desire. These are the real big problems. The other ones are small problems. If you can eliminate the 2 first, the last 3 are kind of, they are tiny-miny, and you can deal with those quite easily. So, sense restraint means that you have good conduct by body, speech, and mind. You stop doing bad things. You do many kind things. You want to be kind. Yeah, you get off on being kind. You want to say nice things to people. It's like you get off on saying nice things. Yeah, you become happy to do kind things. In our monastery in Perth, Ajahn Brahm, sometimes he opens the door for the most junior monk and kind of say, please go through. Yeah, very endearing thing happened to me recently when I was just leaving the monastery. My car was leaving the monastery for coming here to Malaysia. It was only a few days ago. And my car was leaving at 4 a.m. because I had to take the flight at 6:30 or something from the airport. So I got up quite early. And then when I got to the car, Ajahn Brahm had come out of his kuti to say goodbye to me. I couldn't believe it. Well, the first time this happened to me in my monastic life. It's true. And then he was there saying goodbye. He just came to say goodbye for no other reason. Yeah, really, really early in the morning. Yeah, and I was really touched by that. But this is kind of Ajahn Brahm. Yeah, he kind of looks after you. He does things that you never expect him to do. And it's kind of really, and this is kind of this love for doing what is kind, the love for speaking kind words, taking every opportunity to live that life fully. The love of thinking kind words. Yeah. The love of having compassion for other people. When you see someone doing something wrong or bad, actually your response is always compassion and kindness. That is what it should be. Yeah, when you enjoy that in the right way, then your path is doing really, really well. It means that you are on the highway to enlightenment right there. So fulfilling the 3 kinds of good conduct, this is what this is about. It means you have an inner life that is very pure and beautiful. Inside you feel pure and beautiful, and that means that you are ready for meditation. This is when you are really ready for meditation, and that's why the next factor is, I hope don't look ahead, promise me not to look ahead. I will okay. So when the factor of 3 kinds of good conduct is fulfilled, it fulfills the factor of the 4 kinds of mindfulness meditation, satipatthana. You have made the foundation. One of the very interesting things here about the 3 kinds of good conduct is that it includes right view. This is very important to remember, because right view, that's 2 things that satipatthana is founded on. Right view or straight view, and on the other hand, on good conduct. Sila and ujjukaditti are the 2 things. And so when you see the 3 kinds of good conduct, also known as the dasa kusala kamapata, the 10 ways of wholesome action or whatever, right view is part of that. And this is really important, because it is that right view that enables you to meditate properly. Because you know, as I said before, you have the right values. You know what is really important. You know the world is dangerous, the world is unreliable, the world leads to eternal dukkha going round and round. It is not interesting. It is just more of the same. Do you really want more of the same? You solve one problem, then you have another problem to solve tomorrow. And then it goes on and on like that. And then what happens? Then you die. It's just one problem after another, and then you die. And then you get reborn, and then one problem after another, and then you die again. And it goes on like that forever. And the reason why you're here now is because you're still solving problems. And the wrong kind of problems. We should solve the Dhamma problem first of all. Then there is a way out. Getting your values right, getting your priorities right. This is so important. That happens through right view. You understand where you should apply your mind. So this idea of right view, incredibly important. And then the conduct, which makes you feel good about yourself. Then when you sit down to meditate, you will find it easy to watch the breath, find it easy to do the metta meditation, because the foundation is in place. Satipatthana, the main way of doing satipatthana is breath meditation. This is number 1 way of doing satipatthana. There are so many explanations of satipatthana in the world, but the number 1 way is breath meditation. Breath meditation is not just about kaya nupassana. 4 satipatthanas, kaya nupassana, veda nupassana, chitta nupassana, dhamma nupassana. The 4 satipatthanas. All of them are fulfilled by mindfulness of breathing, anapanasati. All of them, not just the first one. People often think, only the beginning is mindfulness of breathing. No, all of them are fulfilled by anapanasati. It's a very important point because it simplifies the whole idea of meditation a lot. So this is what this is about. Practice the 3 kinds of good conduct, including right view, then the meditation really works. The reason why meditation is often so hard is because we are too interested in silly things in the world, in all kind of stuff, and that is why right view really matters here. So, I think that is a good place to take a break. Because I don't want to finish this rush the sutta to the end. So let's take another 5-minute break and then do some more Q&A. So, any more comments or questions? Please don't be shy about asking questions or comments or whatever. And even if you disagree with anything I've said, please, that's perfectly okay. So, go for it.
Ajahn, this is more of a comment or compliment, I would say.
Compliment. Okay. More of those. Thank you.
Just now, Ajahn mentioned that Ajahn Brahm used to open doors for junior monks, and I just want to compliment Ajahn, because last year when I was still a lay person, and we went to Bujang Valley, and on one of the trip, while I was because I was Ajah's kapia, and before I could open car door for Ajahn went ahead and opened the door for me instead of having me serve him, but Ajahn served me instead. So that's very, very inspiring, Ajahn. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Excellent. All right, good. Is that how you became a monk, Pierasi? It worked, right?
Okay, Bhante, if the Buddha says that having good friends and associates, wholesome friends and associates, is the whole of the spiritual life, then conversely, we can always say, if we mix with unwholesome friends, that would be the whole of evil life.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so that is kind of scary, isn't it? That's kind of the because the converse is always true as well. So I would, I tend to agree with you, because we are, either way, we are conditioned. We become who we associate with. Yeah, we become our conditions. So yes. Yeah, good. So thank you for that. That kind of makes it more stark and clear. Yeah.
Actually, I have one more comment. Normally, when I speak to people about mixing with good people or bad people, how can we then understand what will happen to us? I use the description of like paint. If we are fully pure, then it's white paint. If we're fully evil, then it's all black paint. But most of us are all gray paint, right?
Yeah,
so somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you have a gray paint and you mix with white paint, the gray paint becomes more white.
Yeah.
But if you have the gray paint mixing with black paint, the gray paint becomes more black.
Right, yeah.
So that is really how I describe that. When we mix with the wrong company, we become more and more like them.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Good, yeah. I would say that is also actually found in the Sutta, something very similar to that. They talk about the white actions that lead to white results, black actions that lead to black results, and then the actions that are both black and white leading to both black and white results. And most of the things that we do are both black and white, leading to both black and white results. And so our job is to make our actions less dark, more and more bright, leading towards the highest brightness. And one of the most important ways of doing that, as you rightly say, is to hang out with other people who already are brighter than us. And then we kind of, by osmosis, we become brighter and brighter as a consequence. So, so I think that is already kind of part of how the suttas look at that. So I would absolutely agree with that. Wow, I should disagree a bit more with you, Billy, so we can have a good argument. It will be more fun. Yes, please.
Ajahn, just now you mentioned that the foundation of a Dharma boils on one thing, which is kindness. So, can I ask you whether is this correct? Say for example, a volunteer did something good, something kind, and therefore when they sit down for meditation, and then they think about the kindness that they have done on that day, and that itself will bring the joy emotion up. And
maybe,
then I would think that would help to go into a mindfulness meditation.
Absolutely, yeah.
Am I correct?
Yeah, this is actually the way the Buddha describes in the suttas, The Buddha talks about this in the suttas. He says that this is called Sila Nusati, the recollection of your Sila, the recollection of your good conduct. He also talks about the Chaga Nusati, the recollection of your generosity. And this is one of the ways of giving rise to the joy and happiness. But that's the theory, but actually making it happen is not so easy always. So sometimes you do good things and nothing happens in your meditation. It doesn't give rise to joy and happiness. So the hard part is to transfer that into reality, so it really works for you. That's the hard part. So many of these things, they remain on the theoretical level, but don't actually have so much impact. So it has to come from a very pure place and a very good place. Then it will really start to work. Yeah. Please. Yeah.
Oh yes. Good afternoon, Ajahn. Just now you were teaching about how true persons are rare or far and few in between. So I was reflecting on this, and I was thinking, as we go through this world, personally, whenever I have doubts, when I have questions, and I can't find these inspiring people to seek guidance from. I was wondering how do I resolve these doubts or these questions I have in these worldly matters? Because sometimes I feel it might not be something, or at least I don't know how to find the relevant teaching, Buddha's teaching, to find the answers to my worldly questions. Okay. So that's when I wanted to know, what can I do, when I really need to gain some faith and wisdom. Yeah.
Okay. So this is what I recommend. So first of all, try to resolve it yourself. Sometimes what you find is that you don't know straight away what is the right answer, but over time the answer will come to you. So if you don't need to know the answer straight away, then just wait and see what happens. Sometimes we can be too impatient, but deep down the intuition comes. One day you are meditating a bit, you feel really peaceful, and suddenly the answer comes to you. You know what you have to do. That's number one. Number two, go to some of your wise companions and have a discussion with them. Ask them what they think. Yeah, go to Bobby and say, Bobby, please help. Go to Niwern. Say, Niwern, please, I need to discuss this. Niwern has his own little group. You go to his little group, and then you can ask some difficult questions in that group. Yeah, because sometimes it's easier to help others than it is to help ourselves. When it is someone else, we have more clarity. When it is our own problem, it's very hard to see what is right. It's easy for me to give advice to others, but if I have to find a solution to my own problem, sometimes I do all kind of crazy things. So I have to go to Ajahn Brahm, say, please, Ajahn, I don't know what to do. He says, okay, do this. All right, that's easy. So sometimes other people, even if they're not super wise, they have more clarity because they are apart from the problem. They are standing away. They are a third person. That's number two you should do. Number three, if it still doesn't work out, then reach out to someone you really trust. Whoever that might be. Write an email to someone somewhere, or kind of get in contact with somebody through some smart channel, some back channel or whatever it is. And then you get access to someone you really trust. And sometimes there is no answer to your question. Sometimes there just isn't any answer. Sometimes the questions are too difficult. Sometimes you just have to wait, and somehow these things will tend to resolve themselves down the track. So these are the four steps. Step number one, just wait and find it out for yourself, because the answer is actually there in your mind. Number two, go to your spiritual friends. Number three, go to someone who you take as not just a spiritual friend, but a spiritual teacher. And then number four is, okay, no solution, just wait, see what happens. I'm not sure if that's helpful, but that's what I'm saying. Okay. Did you want to say something? Yeah? Okay. Go to Norbu. Go to Norbu. Oh, this is the AI. Is that AI? Yeah, be careful with AI. I must admit, I have seen some of the results of AI, and I sometimes shake my head in despair, seeing especially when it comes to Buddhism, because Buddhism is quite a small area, and if you ask them very narrow questions, often they make terrible mistakes. So be careful. I don't know what Norbu does, but don't take it as gospel truth. You can easily get in trouble if you do, actually.
Ajahn, just a sharing. I mean, since yesterday we have talked about young people, and then we talk about facing issues and facing problems. We talk about kalyana, good friendship, and so on and so forth. Just to share that in these few years that I've tried to open up a platform for people to gather and to meditate, talk a bit of suttas, hang out together, have some kinds of fellowship in that sense, in a good way. And one of the things that I surprised me, or it not surprised me, but I think delight in knowing is that over time people do have a change in the way they view the world.
Yeah.
From maybe somebody who's very angry, and then eventually they become less angry. And I think that kind of works, just reflecting on what you said. So, and I take this to heart today and try to do my best.
Great.
In that sense. So it's kind of interesting that you mentioned about listening to the same talk by Ajahn Brahm. And I think I do quite the same thing when I listen to his talks on YouTube, and I've heard the jokes many a times.
Yeah.
And then I can actually I laugh even before the joke is finished.
You know what's coming, yeah.
But it's kind of nice that it's not just so much the content, but it's the kind of the feeling about it.
The vibe, yeah.
The vibe, and also how it sort of draws a person or draws me to some kind of. So I always tell people that you come and do something like this, and then you go back, maybe you make some better decisions.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens. Yeah. So just listening to a talk, listening to kind of hanging out with the right kind of people actually changes the way you look at things. So that's maybe that's another factor I should add to that list. And yeah, so good. No, thank you for your good work in Iwan. So that's it's marvelous that you can do something positive for the Buddhist world. That's wonderful.
And that's why I come every retreat to listen to Ajahn.
Yeah.
Avijjāsutta has been taught every retreat.
Yeah, has it really? Okay, I can't remember what I do, as I kind of lost kind of count of these things.